Bishop Buddy, Mrs. Jameson, and most importantly, members of the class of 2017. I'm delighted to join you today. First, let me start by congratulating the graduating class of 2017. I know from many years as a trustee and parent that the path to this joyful occasion was demanding. When you receive a diploma from the National Cathedral School, you have truly earned it, and you deserve to bask in the glory of your success. But let me also congratulate your parents, family, and friends, because they have provided invaluable moral and emotional support in countless ways. And finally, to the faculty and staff of this wonderful school, you have exquisitely educated, guided, and mentored the class of 2017, and they have been truly blessed by your tutelage. This is a particularly auspicious time in our nation's history. Rarely have our fissures been deeper. We are not coalescing around a common definition of what it means to be an American. Many find living the American dream unachievable, and we face historically large divides between the haves and the have-nots. The path toward social justice is not clear. Having said that, I remain optimistic about the future and our prospects for addressing these challenging issues. And why is that so? It is because my optimism is deeply rooted in the promise of all of you and young people like you across our nation. By completing the rigorous education here at NCS, you are blessed with the tools necessary to make this country a better place. Indeed, thoughtful, intelligent, articulate, and socially active citizens have always been core to our success as a democracy. It is very fitting that the National Cathedral School's motto is, "Unto whomever much is given, of her shall be much required." Rarely has there been a time when this motto was more important or salient. Now more than ever, you should consider what you can do to make a difference, how you can give back, and to do your best to do best for others. You are exceptionally gifted young women, and we look forward to your next chapters. Today, I thought I would take the opportunity to share with you 3 character traits that in my life's journey I have come to view as particularly important to success and ultimately to be in a position to use that success for the good of others. They are to be bold, to recognize that mistakes are rarely fatal, and finally, to be empathetic. As for being bold, this class is off to a terrific start. You literally have been true to the theme you chose for your class, the Trailblazers. Some of you have engaged in independent projects that expanded beyond the NCS curriculum, exploring astronomy, modern politics here and abroad, and how racial politics informs art. Many more of you took part for the first time in artistic projects, as well as chorale, the dance gala, or one-act plays. You encouraged NCS to celebrate International Women's Day in March and created a program that included all young women of the school, not just the upper school. And some of you helped develop the concept of a day-long hackathon at NCS to showcase the possibilities of studying computer science, coding, and other technical fields in which over 50 of your classmates participated. And you were an equally impressive group on the athletic fields. 29 of you played all 4 years on NCS teams, with many of you leading those teams as captain. And 7 of you were recruited to play at the collegiate level. In the class of 2017's 4 years in the upper school, NCS has brought home 10 championship banners. As you move to the next phase of your lives, I encourage you not to lose that sense of enthusiasm, adventure, energy, and even a bit of mischief. I am reminded of a person who exemplified these traits, who played an important role in my own home, and that was the fictional character Madeline from the beloved children's books. My NCS daughter, Caroline, and I must have read those Madeline books literally 1,000 times. And each time, whenever we got to the part that said in 2 straight lines, the smallest one was, I would hesitate for a split second, and my daughter would shout, Caroline! It was clear even then that Caroline had purple and gold in her veins, that she was going to be the archetypal NCS girl. She loved the fact that Madeline knew no fear. She was willing to confront authority. She was adventuresome enough to run off with the gypsies. And most importantly, she was willing to challenge and indeed to outsmart that bully who moved next door, Pepito, the son of the Spanish ambassador. With all due respect to Mr. Wilson, Madeline's handling of Pepito provided invaluable lessons for future interactions with the young gentleman across the Cathedral Close. So I encourage each of you to continue to channel your inner Madeline as you move forward in the next stages of your life. I've learned over the years that boldness can lead to unexpected opportunities. At a midpoint of my career, I was nicely positioned as a lawyer at a major Wall Street investment bank, and I could only imagine continuing to pursue the climb up the corporate ladder. My plans were quite unexpectedly interrupted by a phone call from the then chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Arthur Levitt, who urged me to leave my comfortable position in New York and to move to Washington, D.C. to be his senior counsel in the chairman's office. I had never considered pursuing a career in public service, but Chairman Levitt was passionate about the duty to serve one's country. And after some serious reflection, I decided to take the risk of a major career change and to give back to my country. Little did I know that this one decision would so open an entirely new vista of possibilities. In relatively short order, I was appointed the director of the SEC's division that oversees all of the securities markets and investment banks in the United States, with a very important mission of ensuring that our securities markets are fair and efficient, and that investors, both large and small, are protected. And I was later appointed an SEC commissioner by the president. I had the opportunity to represent the U.S. in various international policy groups, working with securities regulators, treasury secretaries, and central bankers from across the globe. Serving the public in this capacity was one of the most rewarding periods of my career, and it was an honor and a privilege to do so. But this brings me to my next point, that as a consequence of acting boldly, you may make mistakes, but undoubtedly you will recover from them. As a result of a demanding career, my home life was not always seamless, as I'm sure my children would tell you. A favorite Ferguson family tale is of the time I left my then 4th grader Caroline on the steps of NCS, dressed as Dopey, one of the 7 dwarfs, for Spirit Day, only to realize that school had been canceled due to snow. I'd been too distracted to check my messages. Fortunately, by the time she was in the upper school, she had forgiven me. I would urge you to stretch yourself nevertheless, and to roll with the punches as much as possible. One of my more embarrassing mistakes occurred when, as an SEC official, I was in Davos, Switzerland at the World Economic Forum. There were many high-level people in attendance from all over the world gathered to discuss pressing economic issues of the day, and I tried my best to fully participate. At a dinner during the conference, I was seated with a number of very senior people whom I'd never met. Determined to be part of the mix, I turned to the gentleman to my left, whose name tag said Yanis Durnovchek, and I attempted to strike up a conversation. "So, Yanis," I said, "what is it that you do?" "I am the president of Slovenia," he said. Oh my goodness, that was embarrassing. But I thought I would try my best for a quick recovery. "Excellent," I said. "And what did you do, Yanis, before you were the president of Slovenia?" "I was the president of Yugoslavia," he said. Now I could barely imagine how I was going to recover from this international faux pas. All I could think of at that point was to say, "Well, your mother must be so proud." Fortunately, he found that response very endearing, and with the ice finally broken, we went on to have an absolutely wonderful conversation about our diverse histories and backgrounds. From this most embarrassing mistake, I learned an important lesson. Errors are rarely fatal, and it is better to reach for opportunities, even if you might slip along the way. And owning your mistakes and moving on from them makes you stronger and more resilient. The final character trait that I urge you to adopt is empathy. As successful graduates of NCS, you almost certainly will be called upon to lead, whether in small teams or in institutions of national importance. And as you do, I encourage you to understand that your teammates, those whom you will be leading, have lives, challenges, and issues of their own. Demonstrating human compassion and empathy will prove to be a very important but hidden asset. Understanding the plight of others is not just important in an individual sense, but it is equally important at the macro level. As I indicated in my opening, rarely in our history have we seen such a deeply divided populace. The depths of those divisions, I believe, are rooted in our inability to understand fully the life experiences of others. We now all know that we live in silos that all too rarely intersect. And when they intersect, rarely do we take the opportunity to truly understand the life experiences and issues of others. Your generation has the chance, and I sincerely hope you embrace it, to right the wrong of ignoring and perhaps even demonizing those who have different worldviews that come from disparate life experiences. We all know that our democracy can only survive as long as we feel we have a stake in the success of each other and in our government. Acknowledge the humanity and complexity of every individual, and embrace the National Cathedral School motto, and use the extraordinary skills that you have developed here in the service of others. So let me close again by congratulating you on your tremendous success. You are truly educated women of the world. By being bold and adventurous, by taking risks and being willing to make mistakes, and by being empathetic, you will be armed to truly make a difference. And to paraphrase my message to a former head of state, all of us here, including your teachers, friends, fathers, and most certainly your mothers, are very proud of you. Congratulations and Godspeed, class of 2017.